Hi everyone, it's me, Vie Darling, your cosmic queen, astrological interpreter. I'm going to turn off my virtual background because I want you all to be able to see the cards, and it's really hard for that to happen when I have the virtual background on. And just so you all know, I am coming up on my end of the semester, so I will be able to do just a lot more regarding this practice. And my glasses are like making this super crazy because they don't have the like reflection proofing, but whatever, it's okay, because just don't let it distract you. Like, it's distracting me. And what we're gonna do is, I just am gonna have a lot of stuff happening to make this practice better and for all of you throughout the month, throughout the summer, because I can focus on this. I'm so excited about that. I've been watching a lot of videos to figure out how I best want to shape this practice so that I can really serve all of you much more in the ways that I'd like to. And myself as well. And so what I want to say is, welcome to this video. It's for Gemini season. It's the first one that I've actually done some notes on beforehand, and that's actually really important to me to get the notes done. And I don't do it enough because I am a full-time student, and I still have this practice going where folks can book readings with me. I have limited hours in the summer, but I've had limited hours during the spring semester, but I will be opening my books fully this summer. So you're going to be able to book whenever you want. So let's just get into talking about Gemini season. Y'all already know what it is. We have a Mercury retrograde happening, but it's not actually the only retrograde. It's on the 29th, and it is in Gemini, so it is in its home sign. I feel like this is really important because there's a lot of clarification that's going to be happening, and that seems counterintuitive, right? People think that, oh, things get really bungled during a retrograde, Mercury retrograde. This is not the case in this scenario. Gemini season is going to have a lot of clarification, a lot being revealed to us, a lot of those things that, like, I feel like a lot of readers were saying for a while, like, you're going to find out more and more and more about this. This person's going to say this. This is what's going to happen with that. For me personally, that's not really what's happened. Yeah, for me personally, that's not really what's happened. For me personally, what has happened is that I really found out more about myself. More has been revealed to me about me, about where I stand, about what I want regarding past situations. What's really been coming up for me with my personal practice, interacting with myself, is it is a lot about the past that's been coming up, but not really people from the past coming to me, more like past selves revealing themselves to me and understanding, like having new conceptions and different understandings about past situations that happen. And so with this time, I want people to be cognizant of the fact that perhaps it is going to be more of that than it is going to be, people from the past actually turning up in our lives. And I think that's important to say because it's really important that you know where you stand, what you believe, how you feel, like, before you even get to the point of people showing up in your life and wanting to reconcile. And reconciliation doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, we're going to get back together. We're going to be friends again. We're going to be lovers again. Like, we're going to start working together again or collaborating again. We're mixing our energy again. All it really means is engaging with the past influences, getting really right-sized about them, contextualizing them, getting grounded in reality with them, understanding what our role was and how we want to show up in the situation moving forward. And letting go of whatever is keeping us in that situation. We need to transcend our issues. So this really has a lot to do with Pluto retrograde. I don't actually remember when Pluto went retrograde. When did Pluto go retro? Pluto went retrograde in Capricorn on the 27th of April, my mom's birthday. And that is going to carry out until I believe the 8th of October. Now, I do want to actually mention October because it's going to be a pretty big month, October. October is like going to kind of be a little bit wild. And I'm super excited about it actually, because what's happening is a lot of retrogrades are happening now in Gemini season. And Cancer season as well, with Saturn going retrograde in August until the 11th of October. Mercury is going retrograde in Gemini, but it's going to go direct in Gemini on the 22nd of June, which is going to be Cancer season, because Cancer season, the summer solstice is on the 20th. And on the 20th, Jupiter is going to be retrograde, going retrograde in Pisces. So it's summer solstice, the sun is entering Cancer, Jupiter, which is in Pisces, which is actually one of its signs that it rules, is going to be retrograde in Pisces. And it's going to go direct on the 18th of October. So that's exactly a week from Saturn going direct. And we know that Saturn and Jupiter are the two they're the two social planets. It's really about our relationships. So we even get some Venusian energy here. And we get some Neptunian energy because Neptune is a higher octave of Venus. It's less about coming together in relationships and more about coming together in harmony, coming together, like it's about union, but harmonious union, divine union. So it all has to do with alchemy because, where people say that Saturn is about restriction, it's about structure. It is about like the rules and the roles and that we play in our existence, in our experience, and understanding like what goes together and what doesn't go together, how things mesh with one another. Jupiter is about expansion. It is about going out. It is about giving. It is about coming together with other things. But in order to come together harmoniously, sometimes things do have to fall apart. Sometimes things do have to be taken away because, though the universe is infinite, and we are little droplets of universal consciousness in these bodies, concentrated in these bodies. That is true. We are, we are beholden to these bodies. So we don't have infinite amount of energy that we can give. We have infinite amount of love that we can give. And that is through embodying compassion. That is through embodying forgiveness and compassionate understanding of how others operate and why they operate the way that they do. And so, yeah, that's where we have to bring in this Saturn energy. And we know that Saturn rules Capricorn, which is the sister sign of Cancer. So once again, we're getting in this moon energy too. We can often think about the moon when we think about Saturn. The moon softens the Saturnian decrees. And we talk about Venus because Venus does bring balance. Venus is the grounding force of balance in this world, where Neptune is like super high vibrational, 12th dimensional. Venus is 4D, it's the heart. When we're standing in 4D, we have a more holistic understanding of what is going on. When we're embodying this compassion with this moon, we are able to really channel unconditional love. And we must do that in order to really live an integrated life of peace, joy, harmony. Yeah, so, it's eclipse season. It is happening. It is here. We have the full moon in Sagittarius on the 26th. And what does that mean for all of you? Well, as you know, if you subscribe to the moon tier or higher, you get the full moon and the new moon videos right around when the full moon and the new moon are. And we'll be talking more about that. Even before we do the Mercury retrograde video, we're going to have a Saturn retrograde and Mercury retrograde video. That's going to be on the next tier after the moon, which I believe is the Magician. And then we have the Book of Shadow, in which you get my notes. So if you want to know about the retrogrades and the advanced insights, subscribe to the Magician tier. I believe it's $20 or something like that. But so Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, we have on the 23rd until the 11th of October, the 29th of May, that's Gemini season. We have retrograde Mercury in Gemini until the 22nd of June, and that's going to be Cancer season. And as I said, on Cancer season, we get Jupiter retrograde in Pisces. So I will be making a video about that advanced insight. Other things that are going to be happening is Venus is going to be entering Cancer, and I feel like this is going to be really powerful, beautiful energy, such a softening of the heart, such a sisterhood of the rose. Moment in which we are like, you know, really receiving what we want because we've been honest about it. So in Mercury retrograde in Gemini, I really feel like so much is going to be being revealed. And until that all is revealed and our feet touch the ground again, and that is saying until the 22nd of June, do not make any rash decisions. Do not jump to any conclusions. Simply allow everything to be revealed, because while some things may feel like conflicting with you, it might feel like something's being taken away from you. It might feel like the revelations are earth-shattering and we can't deal with them, especially because it's eclipse season. We are so primal in eclipse season. We are right at the root chakra. So you're gonna want to look at your natal chart. You're gonna want to look at your first house, your ascendant. And you're also going to want to look at your seventh house, your descendant, because that really has to do with the roots, the grounding. And you're going to want to look at your nodes as well. You're going to want to look at your north and your south node. So south node and descendant becomes super, super important here because it really has to do with our ancestral heritage. It has to do with what we came into this life with, the karmic baggage that we came into this life with, and that's being absolved and transmuted. So what I said previously all throughout Taurus season is like, there's a lot of trauma work to be done. There's a lot of work to be done with our past selves to really give them the voice that they need to express what they need from us so that we can show up and do the healing for them that they so desperately need from us. Now, if we haven't been doing that, yes, eclipse season is going to be rough because we haven't developed, we haven't practiced with tools that may be a little bit rusty from 6 months ago when we had our other eclipse season, right? So we're going to want, and that's going to be back, that's across the chart. So that's going to be back in Sagittarius season, right? Late November through December, like mid-December. And so we need to exercise those tools. We need to exercise those demons, those shadows. Taurus season was a lot about shadow work because guess what? The shadow lives in the body. It is embodied. Trauma is embodied. It's encoded in our DNA. It's passed down until we choose to do the work to transmute it, until we choose to do the work to relieve ourselves of it. And this is real stuff that we can do. You know, Dolores Cannon talks about this stuff, but ultimately, if we know that the trauma can be embodied, we know that it can also be disembodied. Spirit doesn't have to be disembodied, but through dissociation, which is a very, very common thing that happens with Gemini season. It happens with air seasons. It happens with air signs, 2 air signs. dissociation, becoming disembodied, leaving our body because it's too heavy. We want to be floating all the time. We want to be moving lightning quick all the time when we're dealing with air signs and air seasons. And I say we because I have an Aquarius moon. So I know what that feels like, especially with the Aquarius moon. It's like, oh my God, like I don't want to deal with feelings. Are you kidding me? Like too close, too much. That's too low vibrational. That's too tangible. Let's just get lofty with the ideals. Let's get ideological. Let's get idealistic. This is what I want it to be, and it needs to be this way. I want to receive this like love that is you know, a fantasy essentially. And that's not something that we necessarily associate air signs with, but it very much can be caught up in fantasy, what things should be. And I'm thinking really of Aquarius here because I am talking about like having Aquarius moon and it is like air sign, whatever. But the reality is we have, as I said, this Saturn retrograde in Aquarius coming up, you know, we have Mercury retrograde in Gemini coming up. So with this Saturn Aquarius, Aquarius is an air sign. It has a lot to do with the fantasy because it does have to do with extrapolation. We can go out and we can create the ideas of the future. How do we ground that? How do we bring back these ideas? I identify as an Afrofuturist. How do I bring back those ideas? Gemini helps with that. Gemini helps because we can get this holistic bird's eye view of understanding like, oh, this is what this is what that is. I get it. But making a decision is not where Gemini is necessarily too good. Whereas Taurus is really much better about making it. Actually, Taurus, a low vibrational Taurus can have the tendency to like, you know, be afraid to make a decision because they know that once they choose something, that's where they're going to stay. Gemini, I feel like, is more like, well, if I say that I'm on this side, then that might mean that I'm not on, that I don't understand or that I don't have, I don't understand the other side, which isn't true. Gemini can be super, super black and white. Low vibrational Sagittarius, I'm a Sag sun, low vibrational Sagittarius can be super, super black and white too, where it's like, oh, I'm either this or I'm that. Or with Gemini, especially with a lot of signs, it can be like, I'm not going to be either of those things because that's far too much commitment for me. I'm just going to stay out of the fray. No, that's not possible. Saturn in Aquarius is saying you need to make a choice, and you need to make a choice for the future. You need to be self-sacrificing enough to choose for the future, to choose for future generations on Earth. And when we do that, when we take the focus off of ourselves and we place it into the collective and what's best for the collective moving forward, and we are servants of this evolutionary ladder, which I really do associate with Jupiter and Saturn, double helix, dual helixes working together to get us further and to evolve us higher into the future. It's not about, I heard someone say yesterday, it's not about who's the fastest, who's the strongest, who's this and that. It's really about who can adapt the best. And that adaptability is something that, you know, Gemini can really embody. With the full moon in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter, which is in Neptune, or sorry, in Pisces right now. So it's at home, it's vibing in this like aquatic, loose, very, what is the word that I want to use? Very fluid energy. It's vibing out and it's electric and magical. And what we envision, what we dream, our fantasy can happen lightning quick if we are willing to say yes. Oh, let me share the chart with y'all because like I'm saying all of this and I could just be showing y'all on the chart where it's at too. I forgot that I could do that. Let me get my little spotlight going. And in fact, sorry, I had to pause to use the restroom and I broke my chain of thought. Yeah, let's look at it. So the full moon in Sagittarius on the 26th, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is at home in Pisces, electric. Everything can happen for us if we're willing to say yes. If we are presented with the opportunity to be who we want to be, to live the life that we want to live. all we have to do is say yes. And isn't that the song that I said for Taurus season? Say Yes by 𝗺cie𝗀𝗺𝗃. All you gotta do is say yes. Don't deny what you feel. Let me undress you, baby. But let's talk about it as if we are undressing ourselves. Like undressing ourselves, taking off all of the layers, taking off the mask, allowing ourselves to actually be about what we say that we're about, actually feel into what we want to have, what we want to experience, because it's embodied. You know, Venus, which rules Taurus, which means Taurus has to do with our tangible relationships and how our environment impacts us and how we impact our environment. What are we willing to have in our space? What are we not? What do we need bottom line for us to be resonant with our environment, resonant in our matrix, resonant in our world, in our lives? What do we need bottom line? The structures, bottom line, for us to feel empowered, to feel healthy, to feel at home. And that's where this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is coming into play. And now let me just change this to whole sign. So yes, it's still in the second house. And it's really, as I've said, it's about our tangible relationships. It's about setting boundaries. Now that's something that, you know, Pisces does not want to do. Pisces does not want to set boundaries, because guess who doesn't want to set boundaries? Jupiter. And Jupiter in Pisces, especially in the fourth house, is like, no, I don't want to set boundaries. Like, I want as much love. I want as much comfort. I want as much as I can possibly have. But we need those boundaries in order for us to be healthy. When we start Gemini season off, we have Saturn here in, come on, yeah, okay, you don't want that. We have Saturn here in the third house, in Aquarius. Saturn is making a hard aspect, as it has been doing. It is making a square to Uranus in the sixth house in Taurus. Uranus is the modern planetary ruler of Aquarius. So that Taurian energy is coloring, as I said, our interactions with Aquarius energy, with Saturn. We're seeing truly the world around us for what it is, and we are understanding it for what it is. And there's no hiding from that anymore. You can't hide under your little rock of comfort. That is not being allowed anymore, because that is where the healing comes in. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. So is Virgo, where the moon is, where Fortuna is, in the 10th house, where the midheaven is. It's discerning to the point of, that's why Gemini, and I feel Gemini really has a tendency where we're going to have a tendency to want to get out of our head and get out of our bodies, because so much is going to be revealed to us on the macrocosmic level, like the collective level, in the news, you know, all that sort of thing. Like what we've been seeing is like, it's going to get more and more and more. And we're not going to be able to hide anymore. We're not going to be able to ignore it anymore. And we already are in a place where we haven't been able to ignore it. And honestly, I feel like what's coming up is there's going to be more white nationalism. Like white nationalism is really going to come up again throughout like the next couple of months. And we're going to really, it feels like something July 4th related is coming up, is what I'm feeling. Heartland. And I'm also getting like heartland and hate speech. And we're going to really have to stand in our power. And we're going to really have to, you know, as I've been saying, this is a time where we have to make a decision. Are we going to be on the right side of this moment of history, or are we going to be on the wrong side? And let me tell you, there is a right and a wrong. When we are agents of fear and destruction, fear, violence, depravity, you know, not destruction. Destruction, you know, well, needless destruction, violence, ignorance, all that stuff. When we are agents of those things, that is wrong. That is low vibrational, that is shadow, and we're transmuting that. There is a way for us to express our needs, our wants, like to acquire justice, to advocate for justice without being evil about it, is really what's coming through here. So that's where we're at. And yeah, well, let me see something. The full moon in Capricorn feels really important, but that's not, full moon in Capricorn feels really important. And I feel like Neptune retrograde in Pisces is going to be important too. We're going to have Neptune retrograde in Pisces. We're also going to have Jupiter retrograde in Pisces. So there's going to be a lot of Piscean energy retrograde. And I feel like this is really going to be a time for us to, like, you know, right now, while we have this energy direct, what I really feel like is get very clear on what your dreams, goals, and visions are. Like, dream big. Y'all know I tell you this all the time. And I remember that there's a video that I believe I took it out of the Cosmic Tea, but I think I might put it back into the Cosmic Tea. And I think that it had to do with Aquarius season, maybe. But I'm saying, like, dream big, because, like, you know, that's how we combat that's how we combat these systems of chaos and depravity and destruction and debasement and defiling. That's how we do that. By dreaming big. And that's the whole basis of Afrofuturism. And what I say in my practice, if you ever listened to Cosmic Queen Power Hour, that was on Playground Radio, I talk about, you know, Afrofuturism and just futurism in general, of all marginalized identities, imagining a future where we're not marginalized. What does that look like? What does that feel like to you? And that's what we need to be focused on, because there's going to be a lot of information coming at us that's going to be disorienting. That's going to be hard to deal with. And we're going to want to check out, to tune out, especially with Jupiter here in Pisces, especially with Neptune here in Pisces. There's going to be a desire to have no boundaries, to just do whatever you want, like whatever. And we're going to be able to manifest things super quickly. So it's really important that you're careful about what you're manifesting. Are you staying grounded? Are you in your root? So grounding is going to be so important here. Are we protecting ourselves and protecting our energy? Are we doing what is needed to get right and to stay right? Because if you stay ready, you don't ever have to get ready. Somebody was telling me that they were upset because they couldn't do something because their passport was expired and they weren't going to get it back in time to do something that they really wanted to do. They weren't going to get it back in time to do something that they really wanted to do. And I wanted to tell them, but I didn't tell them, like, if you stay ready, you don't ever have to get ready. If you renewed your passport before the deadline or before it expired, you wouldn't have had to miss out on something that you wanted to do really badly, because your passport would have already been ready. You know what I mean? So, like, when we are not getting ready, like when we're not working in the basics, you know, if you never leave the basics, you don't have to go back to the basics, because we build upon those basics. And I'm saying this, and I do the same thing right now too. Sometimes I don't meditate as much as I'm supposed to, you know. Sometimes I don't say my prayers. Sometimes I don't do my gratitude practice, and my practice shifts, you know, whatever I need to do in my personal practice, my practice shifts from time to time. Some things shift with the energy, you feel me? But the reality is, especially with what I'm getting from Pluto retrograde in Capricorn in the second house, which is making a trine to the sun in Gemini, which is making a square to Jupiter in Pisces in the fourth house. So the sun, I believe, is on the 29 degrees and 59 seconds. It's of Taurus. It's right there. Where actually like I would prefer it to just be like perfectly on Gemini. I don't understand why it would like, I'm so sorry, y'all, but I'm just like a bit of a stickler for that sort of thing. So yeah, I just like did it to 5 minutes and let's get it to it's just exactly there. So yeah, I believe that's, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so when it actually enters Gemini, it's on the cusp of the 7th house. Of course it is, because we're using whole sign. But I just wanted to make sure, like, I like things to be very precise, rising Capricorn. But so this is really about like, are we in our power? Are we doing the things to be in our power? Are we externalizing and expressing our power? Because that's how we get things right sized. We are in this process of equilibrium being reached, of generations of imbalance being struck with, as we come into this age of Aquarius, we are in this process of equilibrium being reached. And I just want to make sure that I'm recording, though I'm pretty sure I am. Okay, I just had to make sure because that would have been really annoying. Equilibrium is being reached in this space. And so I just caught wind of Fortuna in the 10th house with the moon, and Fortuna and the moon are making a trine to Uranus in Taurus in the 6th house, which is making a square to Saturn in Aquarius in the 3rd house. And what does any of this mean? Because Saturn is also making a trine to Venus in Gemini in the 7th house. And there's this fortuitous crossroads being made here with Saturn and Venus. And I feel like that's some Persephone energy. Like this is, you know, when I say with eclipse season, like the gates of hell are being opened, what I realized yesterday is like, for me, if the gates of hell are being opened, that means that the disparate parts of myself that I cast into shadow, that I abandoned during traumatic moments, are able to be relieved of being in that space, and they're able to come out and stand in the light and be reintegrated. So we can recast this narrative where we are not this sick, sad human being, but we are an agent of the divine. And that healing is made possible with this Persephone, Ceres, Demeter energy, where we are ascending here at this crossroads, where this moon in Fortuna, the moon and Fortuna in Virgo, in the 10th house, about how we go out, the legacy that we leave on the world, which is making a trine to Uranus. Choosing the future, choosing to make an impact on the world that is for future generations, building generational wealth by being self-sacrificing. Oh, the you that you thought that you were trying to be, first of all, you don't even like that person anymore. That much has been revealed to you. And if you're actually showing up and you're actually doing the work, then Mercury retrograde, which is telling us to slow down, is going to reveal to you just how beautiful life can be when you surrender to yourself and to your calling, and you stop chasing after things that don't matter. Manipura, the 3rd chakra, the solar plexus, impact self-esteem and confidence. In what way were you ceding your power to other people? Because this is a personal power center. This has to do with Gemini. It also has to do with Sirius, the dog star, Sirius B, channeling higher vibrational messages. Because Gemini, Mercury is the messenger. Opening ourselves up to divine healing, spiritual healing, because if we don't heal our spirit, we don't get healed. Opening ourselves up and actually embodying it and choosing, yes, I'm going to do this thing. Yes, I'm going to be on this side of what is right and what is wrong. I'm going to choose my integrity. I'm going to choose to live in my guiding principles and be guided by them. I'm choosing to get free. I'm choosing that when I put my head down on my pillow at night, I can sleep well knowing that I did what I was supposed to do. That's what this means. Can you look yourself in the mirror and not constantly think about the things that you need to change? Not constantly think about the things that you're not doing right, how you disappoint yourself because you abandon yourself on the regular. Can you do that? Is that something that you're able to do? If not, let me tell you, this season is perfect for you because it's time to get right within. Because otherwise, those demons are going to alight in eclipse season, and it's going to feel like hellfire. Solar plexus has been clearing, and there's been heart healing, and there's been throat chakra clearing. Are you in balance? Because the throat chakra has to do with the seven, has to do with seven, it has to do with Libra, which is air as well. But in this case, you know, even beyond that, we're thinking about the ajna, the third eye chakra, which is indigo, and we're thinking about the sacral. And when we don't do the things that we're saying that we're gonna do, when we don't live in our integrity, when we lie, and that means emotional lies too, when we are not who we say that we are, and we don't live in who we're meant to be, everything gets thrown out of whack. And that's from fear. Are you choosing fear or are you choosing faith? Are you co-creating with the universe as a lover, or are you allowing yourself to be victimized by the world because you don't want to stand in your power? What is it? What is it? What's true to you? Do you live in that truth? And Gemini season is really about to put the pressure on you, and it's going to feel real uncomfortable if you're not. Are we embodying the truth that we know to be true? Are we co-creating with the universe, sacral chakra, throat chakra, but more than anything, that ajna, that fountain of life, fountain of youth, Shakti as Kali here. Saturn, which is going retrograde in Aquarius on the 23rd of May until the 11th of October. This is going to be big, so do expect me to do a video on it. Yeah, so that's really all. Like, I feel like that's really it. I don't even know if I really need to pull cards, but just for the sake of, you know, you all, I'm going to, and in fact, I think that I'm going to stop this video here because I'm going to post this on YouTube. And I think it's really important for, actually, let's see with the cards. But I'm going to post this on YouTube, so I do want to do something special for my Patreon subscribers. Maybe I will make the advanced insights for Saturn retrograde available to everyone, instead of just the Magician and Book of Shadows and all that. But so we're really asking Spirit and asking the deck, you know, for some guiding principles for Gemini season. And when I talk about things that are big like that, like the thing about white nationalism and stuff like that, it's really important to me to make these things available to the collective for everyone to have access to. Because I might even just make it, I'm not sure exactly what I'll do. I might just make that part of the video available because it's really important for me, for people to get ready, you know, to get ready and to stay ready. If you've been thinking about divesting, like right now, it's really gonna be like, are you gonna commit to that future vision that you have for yourself? Are you actually going to commit to earth justice? Are you gonna actually commit to human rights? You know, are you actually going to commit to animal rights? Are you going to commit to saving the ocean, saving the planet? Like, those are the questions that are being asked right now. So, okay, can I get a couple of cards for guiding principles of Gemini season, please? Birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. What did I say? That ajna. Like, we're gonna have really, really, really active, like, that's really what is coming into play. Like, really getting an understanding of just how we are capable of creating that future, that fantasy that we want to create. And that's what I'm saying is, like, Jupiter and Neptune being in Pisces right now, that's a big deal, especially this full moon in Sagittarius. Yo, you're gonna want to really do some full moon ritual work with this full moon coming up, because it's about to be really, really powerful and really, really strong for manifestation. And yeah, there's a lot of clarification that's coming in. And so is it that it wants to do the crystal oracle deck? So 𝗪ćite, turn on your electric light, tourmaline quartz, restore your perfect light. And I mean, 𝗪cie is coming out here, but bottom of the deck, get real with your truth with 𝗪cie. Let me tell you something, because didn't I just say that? Look at the colors here. It's clarification, it's purification. What I say, first of all, we need to get grounded, and that is about getting real with your truth with 𝗪cie. Drinking 𝗪cie water is gonna really help with our throat chakra. And I have here Amazonite, and I have here blue lace agate, which, like, meditate with the blue lace agate on your throat chakra. It's gonna be really helpful. So let's start with 𝗪ćite. Like the beta blockers in grandma's medicine cabinet, 𝗪ćite's twinkling effervescent energy takes the edge off with its serious feel-good vibes. I feel like that is what I was talking about with the moon and softening this Saturn energy. And like, okay, we see, you know, the karmic debt, we see where we've been wrong, we see where we've perpetuated systems that do not need to go on any further, we see where we've been complicit, and now we need to stop. We need to pull the plug on that, but we can have compassion and love for ourselves, because ultimately, if we don't have love and compassion for ourselves, we cannot have it for others. If we're not embodying that, we cannot give that to the world. We cannot ground that in, like, the universe, you know what I mean? So this inverted feminine and the desecration of sacred feminine sexuality and the imprisonment of the feminine, you know, the first trigger warning, the first rape, which I've talked about on the Patreon, you know, and the imprisonment of women in the literal enslavement that is where marriage, the institution of marriage, comes from, the literal enslavement and buying and selling of women, females as objects, the objectification of women, the exploitation of sacred femininity, sacred feminine sexuality, the womb space, which all of us have with the Svadhisthana, the sacral chakra. You know, that desecration really impacts the ajna, what we project onto the world, what we perceive of the world. Our intuition, our manifestations are sick because of that inversion. And so where are we embodying shame around that? Shame having to do with the Manipura, having to do with our manifestations, having to do with, like, where it's seated in the roots. So this is a perfect time this is a really good shadow work time, really good time to do some shadow work, really good time to show up for oneself. This is being unlearned, it's being unearthed, and it's being pushed out so that we can make space for the truth, make space for light, make space for love. And we must stand in our power in order to experience the life we want for ourselves and for the world, and it actually resonates with who we are, because we've been living lies, my friends. All of us have, me included. How have we been abandoning ourselves? And let me tell you something I wrote in my notes. Fuck practicality. Fuck practicality. Saturn's about to be retrograde in Aquarius. First of all, Aquarius is not really talking about practicality. Aquarius is the grounding of these Piscean fantasies. It's like, okay, you want this fantasy? I got you. Here's some really newfangled ideas that people are probably not really going to mess with. But guess what? It doesn't matter, because I'm making it possible. Aquarius is the sign of new technologies for that reason. New spiritual technologies is really what we're talking about here, because that's what's coming in with this birthing of the new age, which was the card that I pulled at the bottom of the deck from the Work Your Light Oracle deck, but it went back in for some reason, I don't know. The Age of Light, you've been training for this for lifetimes. You have that spiritual technology encoded in your DNA, especially if you identify as a starseed, having densened down the mortal coil to manifest here to help bring in this age of light. Your dreams, your fantasies are valid and they can be made real now. Fuck practicality. Saturn, ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, ruler of Capricorn, is about to be retrograde. The sign that Pluto is retrograde and is about to be going retrograde. So all of that, all of those rules and restrictions are about to be hands off. Breaks over, I think about that all the time. The brakes are off. I say this a lot since Aquarius season. I've been saying this a lot. The brakes are off. We are full-fledged speeding ahead in our rocket ship for the future. How far do you want to go? However far you're willing to go is how far you're gonna go. And if you don't go all the way that your spirit is calling you to go, you're going to feel out of alignment, because you're not going to be embodying your spiritual truths. Now, you can dream. If you can dream it, you can do it. Let me tell you that right now. Do what you feel. Trust the process. We're getting there. We're getting there. And more is being revealed. Clarity is coming in. This is the Christ consciousness, the ascended mastery of oneness. Who needs Danbarite, emos, goths, buttoned up white collar stress cases? Perhaps people who are a little bit worn down by the state of the world and the social systems in which we live in, right? All of us with this pandemic fatigue, quarantine fatigue. Let me tell you, the pandemic is not over. Just because it's not happening in America, like, listen, people are dying in third world countries. There are how many genocides going on? I talk about this all the time in my videos, and y'all don't, people don't understand why I say these things and why it's important. But how long have I been talking about these in these videos? And now it's happening in the world outside. And what y'all want to do? What do y'all want to do? Because I'm giving you the blueprint. I've been giving you the blueprint. I've been giving you the light codes. I've been giving you the messages. Those prophecies I saw last April. Prophecies that I've been seeing from 2019 Capricorn season. Alighting, manifesting now, in the here and now. Since this time last year, last May. So what are you going to do? These things matter. These things are important, because it directly impacts each and every single one of us, our quality of life and our spiritual disposition. And if our spiritual disposition is unwell because we are perpetuating and living in a sick system, we're going to live a sick life. We're not going to have peace. We're not going to have joy. We're not going to have equanimity. We're not going to be able to access our highest potential. And so what is the point of living? I must ask you. Where to put it, wherever you want to do some elevated thinking, feeling, dreaming, being. Ajna, crown chakra, clearing. Get that meditation in on a nightly basis as much as you possibly can. taking deep grounding breaths, making space for unmediated experiences. That means not listening to any music, not watching any show, not reading anything, just being and getting clear and tuning in to the silence, because what comes up is not silence. It's the unmanifested. It's the unseen. And when you tune into it, you tune into your intuition. That's that ajna. Because there's a lot of crown chakra manifestations, like light codes, downloads that have been coming in throughout this process of cleansing and clearing that was happening back in Taurus season, especially, that we must avail ourselves of so that we may know how to go forward. And this is why we're being called to slow the F down, not only with Saturn going retrograde in Aquarius, but especially on the 29th with Mercury retrograde in Gemini, because we don't know as much as we think that we do, and we need to make space and get quiet so we can get clear. And getting clear also means letting go of what doesn't work, the garbage, the junk that was holding us down. I talked about this in Pisces season. When we ascend, there's this like aqueous osmosis process that happens where lower vibrational entities cannot go with us up into these higher realms, right? When to use 𝗪倘, when the daily grind has ground you into the pavement, what I say, when you feel like launching into space but lack astronaut training, that rocket into the future. Vibing with 𝗪倘can help divert your busy mind away from its pesky physics-ruled orientation. Fuck practicality. There's somewhere else out there. Flip on the high beams and explore. This is exactly what I just said, right? Tourmaline quartz, and I wear this selenite necklace with the black tourmaline on it because I always want my throat chakra. It really hangs in front of my heart, but I want the clarification and the purification and the protection. So it's not about like exacting vengeance. Remember that. All the stuff that's going to be coming up, people are going to be like, oh, justice is vengeance. Justice is vengeance. No, it's not. Justice is not vengeance. Justice is absolution. And absolution is found through atonement. I talk about this all the time. I talk about Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg's teaching of the Judaic practice of atonement. In 12-step programs, this is the amends process. Get familiar with the process of atonement. And as I said in Taurus season, atone to thyself. Atone to yourself. Atone to the past lives, which are helping you, guiding you now. Their atonement must take place through you. So that there can be karmic absolution. There can be resolution of ancestral trauma and karma. That you may be spiritually liberated and liberate your bloodlines. And crowned in Christ consciousness, because when we let go of that lower vibrational stuff, 12D, as I said, 𝗪cie and osmosis into the higher realms, into the light realms. When we do that, we are crowned in Christ consciousness. And that is why we must channel compassion, unconditional love, and forgiveness. There must be accountability. Saturn in Aquarius promises that there will be. And this will really happen when Saturn actually moves into Aquarius in Vedic astrology. It promises that absolution will be had. The pound of flesh will be paid. But it starts inside of each and every single one of us. That's where it starts. It doesn't just happen overnight. One day we wake up and we see it. It has to happen internally. It has to be an internal revolution. How free do you want to be? Because we are being given the opportunity to get real free here. But it is going to happen through our own actions, our own self-sacrifice. We don't need to sacrifice animals. We don't need to sacrifice virgins, all that weird ass fuck shit that people were doing before. And I'm going to tell you real right now, my ancestors did it too. But people still do that. And that's important to recognize, and that's important to honor, is that truth that people still do that. Get to know the esoterics. And don't knock it till you try. Don't knock it until you know what you're talking about. Get to know the esoterics, do the research, because there's unsacred magics underlying everything in this culture. And we need to get right within as a culture. So we need to expunge all that from within us. And we need to atone for all of that through self-sacrifice. Vertex entering Aries, vertex entering the 5th house, where we have Chiron, healing. Chiron in connection with this energy here that I already spoke about. Oh, tourmaline quartz. Let me say what it says. Restore your perfect light. What? Is that not exactly what we're talking about? When it's time to shed a light on the vices, victims, and vampires in your life, once you have a clear view of their whereabouts, it's that much easier to kick them back into the gutter where they belong, and don't let them back in. Because you've ascended out of those timelines through your actions. You don't go back into that same den of vampires. You don't go back into that same sick gutter. You don't go back there. And you're not going to deal with that again. Because it's an age of light. And the karmic contracts are dead. And they are done. And they are nullified, and they are void, and freedom is yours if you're willing to take it. How free do you want to be? Where to put it, wherever you intend to shine your brightest. Wherever you intend this tourmaline quartz. Anyone in need of a psycho-spiritual scrub. So what it is with both the negativity fighting power of black tourmaline, which nullifies and grounds energy. It's not sending it back, it's just blocking and neutralizing. That's what Saturn does. And the amplifying clarity of clear quartz, tourmaline quartz, exactly what it sounds like, might just be the best stone to bring along in that often discussed desert island scenario. And I would say so. And then we have shungite, which I started with kind of when I was like, get real with your truth. What did I say? Yo, the demons are gonna alight. You better get right within. You better get real right within. This is shadow work, like boot camp right now. OD, like OD, like shungite is a coal-like mineral. I actually brought, is this my shungite or is this I think is this shungite? I don't know. But I know that I know for a fact that that I have shungite over there. And this is what I said, shungite water for throat chakra clearing is really gonna help you tell the truth. It's a coal-like mineral. Its carbon molecules called fullerenes or buckyballs form in the shape of tiny geodesic domes. Geodesic domes, funnily enough, Buckminster Fuller, I guess that's maybe buckyballs and fullerenes. Oh my God. And he pioneered the geodesic dome, which is such an important part of Earth integrated building. Yeah. How far in the future do y'all want to go? How much do you want to anchor this age of light in? Age of Capricorn is next, honey. Lights in the darkness. It is the Kali Yuga. It's electroconductive, and it's only found in Karelia, Russia, where local spots have taken advantage of the mineral's purifying powers for centuries. And I do want to say that Russia is a hot spot for very sacred magics. There are some really important bloodlines there, and I don't know, they don't want me to speak about that too much, but it is a hot spot for some very sacred magics and some very sacred energy centers on the planet. Who needs it? Anybody looking to get honest with themselves. Where to put it? In your water bottle to create shungite infused drinking water. Meditating with shungite can get the good vibes flowing through you like electricity through a neon sign that reads yes. When to use it? When it's time to reclaim your energy from wherever it's been and whomever it's been with. So what I want to tell you, and so this is carnelian is on the bottom of the deck. Go with your gut. It is a cherry red chalcedony used by ancient Romans in signet rings, wax doesn't stick to it, and it may and by modern folk to ward off insecurities. Carnelian's fiery energy helps spin us out of fearful thought cycles and into action, which is going to be really helpful with Gemini season, because there's going to be a lot of, you can really get like spinning out into oblivion about fear and like all that, you know, extrapolating yourself into a dark hole. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not do that. Stay light. Stay light by getting grounded. Stay light by meditating. You know, choose faith. Whenever things start to get heavy, like whatever's being presented to you, that's an opportunity for you to look at what you want to manifest in life. Look at what like is wrong in order to create the fantasy, and do some research about that. Don't let yourself get bogged down in fear. Don't let yourself be disabled and paralyzed by fear. No, we're choosing to slow down. We're not being forced to. Who needs it? The understimulated, anybody looking to get acquainted with their fears. Hello, fear. My name is your name. We have some beautiful work to do together. Now, STFU, and let's do this. Where to put it? Wherever you want to inject some passion and confidence, i.e. your palate or your pelvis. I'm saying the sacral chakra. I'm also saying like grounding with some black tourmaline on the root chakra. And honestly, I'm saying like sex magics, like divine, like Kundalini healing, like removal of this like dark, like the desecration, as I said, of the sacred feminine sexuality, desecration of sexuality in general, divine sexuality in general, sacred sexuality in general, removal of that through sex magics. And, you know, black tourmaline, you know, this grounding of that energy, the neutralization, the grounding, the casting out of these like sicknesses, these demons, these shadows that have like rooted themselves in the root chakra. So like gut clearing is gonna really help. Gut clearing is gonna really help. And you know, maybe don't watch, anyway, that's not for me to tell you. When to use it, when you find your creativity or sex drive on sleep mode. Also getting blue calcite, act on your dreams, sapphire, find your tranquil place, and 𝗿𝗲 soften your heart. And I just went like this, and I don't know if y'all saw that, but those are the exact cards that I got yesterday when I did the abbreviated Gemini video for IGTV. So yeah, thank you, Spirit. And it also is giving me 𝗪cie𝗿𝗄, which says stretch the limits of your imagination. So I'm going to put that down, but I'm not going to read too much into it. What I am saying is that like, definitely look into Sirius star B. If you are a star seed, if you have any, and then it's also saying meteorite, connect to your star stuff. If you are a star seed, if you identify with ancient civilizations, ancient Egypt, ancient like Atlantis, I feel like there's a lot of, you know, Lyran star seeds, Lemurian related, that we're getting free right now. There's a lot of healing coming in because of Jupiter being in Neptune, Jupiter being in Pisces with Neptune. And it's time for us to do what we were born to do. It's time for us, like with this age of like card, you know, you've been training for this for lifetimes. Now it's time to really show up for it. And I think that's everything. I think that's everything. I think that I've said enough. I've talked long enough. I love you all truly and deeply, and I really appreciate you being on this journey with me. And yeah, have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Gemini season. For those of you who are subscribed to the Patreon, because I am making this video available on YouTube, I am going to shift all of the content one tier down so that what's it called? What is this tier called? I'm so sorry. I'm ridiculous right now. The moon tier, you know, you all in the page tier are going to get the moon insight videos. The moon tier, y'all are going to get the advanced insight videos. The magician tier, y'all are going to get my notes. And I don't know, I might do a little something extra for y'all, maybe like a minute reading, like quick 5-minute reading with a one card. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, because I'm making this video available to everybody. I love you all truly and deeply. That's really it. I have no more to say or to share. I want to thank your guides, my guides, spirit, divine feminine goddess, our ancestors, healed and whole, angels, as I said, entities that are healed, whole, and working towards the divine light from the light realms. Helping us in this collective process of ascension and anchoring in the light. 12D Christ consciousness, sainted energies. Thank you so much for joining me, and I love you all truly and deeply, and I will see you in time for Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, so probably tomorrow or Saturday. I love you all. Bye.